So what if everything we think we know about success, the fame, the wealth, the power, what if it's all being measured on the wrong timeline? We're about to dive into a pretty radical theory from a 1989 lecture. It starts with one single, non-negotiable premise about life itself, and from there, it builds a massive blueprint for success that covers everything from our own inner spirit to the very structure of our nations.
We all think about this, right? What does it actually mean to be successful? Is it about money, a great career, just being happy? Well, this theory says that before we can even begin to answer that, we have to ask a much bigger question first. Are we playing the short game or the long game? Are we measuring our success for this life or for eternity? And just like that, the theory splits our idea of success right in two. On one side, you've got worldly success. That's all the stuff we can achieve in our limited time here on Earth. But on the other side, there's eternal success, which looks at our growth on this infinite spiritual timeline. And according to the speaker, that second one, that's the only one that's the true measure of a successful life.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with that core idea, eternal life, and see how it completely flips the definition of success for an individual. Then, we'll see how that same idea scales up to transform huge corporations, and even the very blueprint of a nation. And finally, we'll get to the two ultimate goals that this whole philosophy is driving us toward.
So what is this unbreakable foundation? What's the one, single, absolute premise that this entire theory is built on? And there it is. This is the bedrock. The speaker presents this not as some belief you can think about, but as an absolute 100% truth. To really get the logic of this framework, you just have to accept this as the starting point. Everything, and I mean everything else, is built right on top of this idea.
Okay, so with that foundation of eternal life locked in, let's look at the first big application. What does it mean for you, as a person, to be truly successful?
The path is laid out in 3 really clear steps. Step 1, be valued. Live your life in such a way that people can honestly look back and say, I'm so glad you were here. Step 2, leave a legacy. This means creating something real, something tangible that outlasts you. It could be a company, a family, a piece of art. And finally, step 3, build a philosophy. You have to take all the lessons you've learned and distill them into a unique wisdom that you can actually share with the world.
Now, this is so important to understand. These 3 steps aren't just about building a good resume for your life on Earth. No. According to this theory, they are the practical steps for spiritual growth. The ultimate goal here isn't just to leave a great legacy, it's to achieve a state of enlightenment, or what the speaker calls satori.
All right, so now let's see how this eternal perspective can possibly apply to the corporate world. I know, it might seem like a strange fit, but stick with me. The speaker basically argues that modern companies, with their laser focus on profit, are fundamentally incomplete. Yeah, they might have a brain for strategy and a body for production, but they're missing a heart, a guiding spirit.
And that missing piece, according to the speaker, is virtue, or toku. And get this, the definition here is incredibly specific. It's not some vague moral idea. It's almost like a math equation. Your virtue is literally the total amount of time you have spent genuinely, truly thinking about the happiness of other people.
Then the theory lays out this really specific path for how a leader can grow this virtue. It's a journey through 4 stages of love. It starts simple with the desire to give to others. Then it gets more advanced, the ability to guide and teach. Then comes a really tough one, mastering the wisdom to forgive. And finally, you can reach this love of being, where your very presence, your very existence is a benefit to everyone around you. So we've gone from the individual to the corporation. And now the theory expands to its absolute widest scope, the success of an entire nation.
And the diagnosis here is exactly the same as it was for corporations. The theory says that modern politics has just become a big, messy competition of self-interest because it's lost its connection to a higher purpose, what the speaker calls the mind of God. It's totally lost its moral compass.
So what's the solution? Well, it's a radical restructuring of government. A parliament split into 3 equal parts. A third of the seats go to career political experts who have to pass a seriously demanding exam. Another third goes to proven leaders from major industries, like banking and manufacturing. And the final third, that's for representatives elected by the public, the traditional way. The goal is to create a perfect balance of expertise, real-world experience, and the will of the people.
Now, the economic part of this vision is just as wild. The theory puts forward a hard cap on all taxes, personal and corporate, at exactly 10%. And the reason? It's presented as the divine and proper rate for taxation.
So you might be wondering, how could a government possibly run on taxes that low? The idea is that government agencies should have to operate more like businesses. They get a base budget from that 10% tax revenue, sure, but for anything more, they have to earn it by providing services that people and businesses are actually willing to pay for. And any ministries that aren't necessary, they'd just be eliminated.
So, after completely redefining success for individuals, for companies, and for nations, the whole theory comes together and points us toward two ultimate goals for all of humanity.
And this is really the core of it all. The purpose of human life, according to this theory, is a balance between two big pursuits. First, there's private happiness. That's our own personal spiritual journey towards enlightenment. But just as important is public happiness, the collective mission to build an ideal society, a utopia. And the key insight here is that you can't be truly successful without pursuing both.
And that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about, right? If we take this theory from 1989 and apply it to our lives today, if we measure our success not by what we have, but by this balance of private and public happiness, where do we stand? How much of our energy is really focused on our own inner growth, and how much is truly dedicated to building a better world for everyone else?